Good morning, all of you. Today, let us discuss learning and acquisition because learning is something which helps us to acquire many things. I have been trying to learn the difference between learning and acquisition for a long time, but even I have asked many professors, linguists, and I couldn't get a satisfactory answer because most of the linguists consider learning and acquisition are almost the same, but not exactly the same. Learning is a process of acquiring something, and acquisition is a process of learning something. In that way, we are confused because they sound the same. But all of us acquired the first language in the initial stages, but we start learning it in the latter stages. It happens to all of us. For example, acquisition may stop at some stage after 3 years, 5 years, or 6 years or so, but we go on learning many, many things. If you want to become a great poet, it's not enough if you just learn a language and you just learn how to speak, read, and write to a certain extent. You have to become extraordinarily brilliant to write a poem. The problem is writing a poem or learning music or learning fine arts are associated more with acquisition than learning because unless your subconscious mind helps you to acquire music, dance, and other fine arts, you can't learn them. That's why it is not easy for all of us to learn all the things. Some of us are born to acquire certain things. That's why some of us are becoming poets, some of us are becoming dancers, some of us are becoming drawing artists, some of us are sculptors, some of us are becoming painters. That is the natural faculty we are endowed with. So, that is the way our subconscious mind helps us to acquire certain things which are natural to us. For example, if somebody writes a poem, I can't write a poem by imitating him. It must be my natural instinct. If somebody paints a picture, I can't paint a picture because that's not my instinct. So, all of us are endowed with different intelligences. We call them multiple intelligences, or we may call them instincts. The instinct must be there. Instinct may be natural or it may be divine. If there is an instinct, we have to work hard and then we become famous or we become great. Without the instinct, we can't do anything. Okay? Now let us come to the point of learning and acquisition. I have been observing many speakers, many learners, many teachers, and many students. Only a few of us are able to speak the second language like English well, and the rest are not able to speak it well, even though they are teaching it in the classrooms, even though they have acquired many degrees, even though they have learned many things. I think probably they are trying the language in a bad manner or in the wrong way. So I think they should come to the right track and start learning the language so that they can speak naturally, fluently, elegantly, if even if they can't speak like the native speakers. Even the research says that non-native speakers also can speak like the native speakers, including the pronunciation. Of course, that is the most difficult part. But if we are motivated subconsciously or unconsciously to acquire that language, then we are becoming almost like native speakers. So, my sincere advice is to try to learn the language in a natural manner and in real life situations. Instead of learning the language in a linear mode, that means words, sentences, paragraphs, this and that, don't do that. Try to learn the language in a holistic manner so that your language learning becomes easy. Then you can move from learning to acquisition. That is my sincere advice, because I have been teaching English for the last nearly 40 years, and I started speaking English when I was 18. In those days, there were not many opportunities. There were no YouTubes. There was no internet. The only thing we could depend on was the radio, and in the latter stages, television. Even television was there from 1983 onwards. But when we were high school students, we could depend only on the radio. Even then, I was motivated to listen to the lessons broadcast by CFL, that is English by Eye. In those days, it was called Central Institute of English and Foreign Languages, CFL. Now it is called FLU or TEFLU, teaching the English and Foreign Language University. Okay. Anyhow, all the teachers should try to speak English in a natural context. They should utilize all the opportunity in and outside the school. I am asking this question or posing this question to teachers because doctors are speaking good English, software engineers are speaking good English, some executives are speaking. So then why not teachers, especially English teachers who are labeled as English teachers? So we have to speak English at all levels, at all occasions, with all registers, with all types of English: formal English, informal English, and classroom English, and so on and so forth. You should be familiar with all these things. So your aim should be lifelong learning so that you can acquire English. Don't be confused with the terms learning and acquisition. You should possess it. You should acquire it so that you own it. You speak it, you write it, read it, and you anchor in that language. Thank you very much for listening to my speech.